Hi, my name is Nathan Savant, and I'm here today to talk about quest design and encounter design in Bears. Bears is a tactical strategy game where the tactics and strategy are meant to be more on the sort of a reactive, thinking on your feet side of things. So the game is intended to feel chaotic and maybe a little bit confusing when you first come to understand its systems, and then should feel extremely intuitive and simple after you've achieved a basic level of mastery. So we start off with a call from God, giving you your quest. So, Kiberte, Kiberte, it is time. You are chosen. Help them. They squabble. They bicker. Cthulhu rises. His fire burns. They must defend themselves. Their windmills. Seek out the windmills. And that's it. Somewhat cryptic start. And then you get, at the start of the intro, you get a big empty space, and then two ideas here which show up on the top left. So you can attack the bunker door and press WASD to move. These serve as just introduction tutorials. The idea with the ideas panel here, it serves as sort of a quest log and pushes the player along basically. So at the moment, your quest was just to move around the space, and you have the idea to attack the bunker door. So for now, you can kind of wander around as much as you want. You're free to do whatever you like. Then when you get close enough, you get a new idea once you're within range, and you're now instructed with how to attack. So you press F to fire, and now an alarm goes off, and you get a new idea to panic. So run away, and an enemy shows up. Or at least a bear shows up, and you can kind of assume it's an enemy. So you continue panicking. You're not really giving any instruction of what to do here exactly. But that only lasts for 2 turns, at which point this other guy shows up and stand here next to the portal shrine. So he gives you that message, and just to stand here. And you get a new idea to capture the shrine. So you stand around here, and there's a little orange area that clearly demarks, where you should stand. And you just kind of hang out here for a couple of turns. And you get a 2 out of 3. Not really clear exactly what that is, but it says some kind of indicator of progress. So you just continue waiting. And then at the start of this next turn, you are whooshed away. You are whooshed away, and you appear here. My idea there didn't seem to appear on my screen. That's just a bug. The idea just tells you how to choose different weapons by pressing Q and E, and then it tells you to speak to that bear. So you can choose different weapons, and you eventually find the talk button. So I have to be within range to talk to that guy. And then you start a dialogue here. So another hero here to save the day, huh? A lot of you lately. I was chosen! And of course, well, chosen one, no one's taking the bunker down alone. We need to stop the others. The air battery must be installed. It is the only way. Take down the windmills. Without power in their batteries, they'll have to join us. And thus ties you back to your request from God at the beginning. And then we can work together and stop Cthulhu. So now you have that guy mentioned, or reiterated, I should say, the quest that you got from God. So now you have a more of a concrete idea of what's going on. Still not really much clue as to what's happening. You're just told a little bit more and to go find their windmills. And then this little purple thing appears, so you can come over here and interact with it and see what happens. What happens is you are teleported, and then you show up here. Once again, my idea doesn't actually show up, but the idea is just to attack the windmill. So very simple. It's just reiterating the mission you just got from the previous guy. So we move around the space. We have, in this space, let me go through what's actually in this space first. So in this space, we have a windmill that's locked behind a wall and a barrier of some kind, along with 2 enemies that are guarding it, or at least standing next to it. We have another enemy on the top right of the screen, and then we have some other bear on the top middle of the screen who doesn't exactly look like the enemies, so we're not really sure what his deal is. Maybe we can assume he's hostile, maybe not, but whatever, he's standing there regardless. On the bottom right of the screen, we have some kind of a red button that is just kind of sitting there. So at the start of this mission, you can do whatever you like. You can wander over to the button as like the nearest point of interest. You can head over to the windmill, see what you can do about it since that's your stated goal. You can go attack the one guy in the top right to defend yourself and make sure he doesn't come after you or whatever. Or you can head towards the purple thing on the top. So because I know what's going on, I'm just going to head to the purple thing at the top. Oh, and as I'm on my way, I get a message from this guy. He starts yelling, "Free our leader." So you get the idea to find the leader, because you don't actually know where the leader is right now, obviously. And the next turn, he says, "Here, inside," giving you a more explicit set of instructions, and then now you get the idea to just go inside the building, because you clearly know where to find the leader now. So, head inside to the purple, teleport once again, and you show up inside. And now I'm in a space, much more tight quarters. I've got these big barrels that are in the way, kind of blocking off, serving as walls, basically. And then little piles of bricks lying around the path. So obviously right now I don't really know what to do with any of this, so I'll just continue going forward. And that's when I get the idea, hey, this one showed up. So cast knockback on bricks. So I can check my spells, and oh look, there is knockback. So I cast knockback on the bricks, and what do you know, the bricks fly forward, and that guy builds another chunk of wall. The guy behind that wall also yells for help. So I get the idea, help them build their wall. This whole section is a bit of a reference to Cask of Amontillado, and the help them build their wall thing is kind of a gag, if you get the reference to that. So anyway, continuing on, I move forward. I wander around because I don't really know what to do. I can help them build their wall, obviously, so I can move over here. So, cast knockback on those bricks. Oh, what's this? Over there. Haha, so now the guy's asking for help, and he's giving me some instruction, and now I clearly know that I can destroy the highlighted wall. So this guy is clearly asking me for help now, and now I get a better idea of what to do. So I head over here and look for, I've got a melee range, here are my bear claws, and I go ahead and I attack. And at that point the wall goes away, this guy yells they must not have him, and a bunch of other stuff happens. So let all that resolve. So now the situation has completely changed. So on the top left of the screen, my ideas, I've got press tab to switch bears. So it appears that the guy in the top center has joined me. And I also have the stated goal of get to the exit, as well as 3 enemies that are clearly going to try to stop me from doing that. So I'm just going to rush out, because I don't want to deal with these enemies. I just want to do what I'm told and get to the exit. You can, of course, attack these guys. You can, of course, try to win. It's not too difficult to fight. It's just 2 on 3. So, not terribly bad. But I'm just going to leave. So once I leave, I appear back outside again. Now the guy asking for help is gone, and I have 2 bears on my team. So otherwise this whole area is the same, but clearly something is different because I have 2 bears now that I can deal with. So now I can interact with the rest of this map, and we can go back and try again over here. So I'm just going to kind of skip through this, as it were, because I know the solution of what's happening here. The intention basically is that there is that button on the bottom right, and that button drops the door that we see next to the windmill on the top left. So if I stand on that button, the door drops down and I can access the windmill, also releasing the enemies that are there. But once I do that, since I can now access the windmill, I can attack it, and in attacking it, I complete my mission. Boom. And ta-da! So that is bears. That is the first little sequence of missions that are happening. The goal of the encounters and the design process for the quest here is to be free-flowing and to allow multiple approaches to everything. So there are no explicit quest givers. There's no too explicit instructions for anything you're doing. So that middle sequence that we saw where we talked to that guy for a little bit, that is the closest thing to a quest giver that we get. And even then, we're only really told to attack the windmills. So, we're never really given too much particular instruction before that or around that or whatever else. And when we're actually in the missions, we're never really confined to any one thing. So, for instance, I chose not to attack the guy in the underground cellar, the Casco Amontillado area. So I chose not to attack him, and then I had to fight 3 versus 2. If I had chosen to attack that guy at first, I could have wiped him off the board, and it would have just been a 2 versus 2 fight. Everything in this game is very reactive to whatever choices you want to make. The quest designs are very open-ended. You can approach things however you like. If I had attacked that guy underground and done that quest where I'm only fighting 2 versus 2, I would have also noticed that the 2 other enemies that show up don't show up until I attack the wall. They don't care about the guy that I'm attacking, they care about the wall. So there's kind of an implication as to what's happening there, and that comes back later in the story within this game as well. And so by triggering each of those sorts of events and each of the interactions that you have very separately, I'm able to craft very open-ended puzzles and very open-ended story beats that kind of unfold in response to your actions, rather than having to script long, linear sequences. Even the intro level that we saw with the bunker attack, that more linear sequence where, I'm attacked by a bunch of enemies and then somebody shows up and teleports us away and we have to do all of that. Even that sequence, it's set up within the framework of the game. They don't just teleport you away, it teleports you away in response to capturing an area. And that's something that works. Well, that's a bit of game design that works regardless of if it's in this mission or anywhere else. And that's not any sort of scripted sequence necessarily, it's just a capture point that you have to stand next to for 2 turns. The enemy that shows up there, or the ally that shows up there, shows up regardless of where you're standing. No matter what you've done, no matter if you're attacking the enemies or not, it does none of that makes any difference. The guy just shows up and he teleports you to the flag sort of capture point. And that's the design ethos that I've used to approach all of this, is that you're free to attack enemies or not attack enemies. You're free to interact with buttons or not interact with buttons. You're free to kind of approach all these puzzles in whatever way you like, and the game will simply respond. And so that's it for my sort of brief dive into the encounter and quest design in Bears. Hopefully you found this approach interesting. And if you'd like to see more about my design ethos or any other sorts of examples of what I do, then feel free to check out the rest of my website at ethansavant.com. And thanks for watching.